Okay, this is a video on how to change the crystal Bobeches on a 429-6, -9, and -15. The model I'm using right now is the 429-6. This is the newer model, so the crystal Bobeches just slide over the candle sleeves. But if you have one of the older models, then it wasn't so easy to change. Unfortunately, I don't have any of the older models of the 6, so I'm going to show how to do it on the newer model, which is the same principle. It's just different looking. So you're going to start at the top, and you're going to undo this nut. Those two pieces off, take the crystal ball off. Take this cap off. Alright. So then you have a nice mess of wires in here. When I go to put this back together, one of the things I was going to say is when you put that cap back on, you want to make sure that all these wires are clear. Just noticing right now that this one looks like they've just pinched the wire. There's no exposed wires, so I think we are all right here. But you just want to keep an eye on that when you do go to put it back together. I'll mention it again near the end. So you're going to undo the electrical tape off of these wires. Take the morettes off. Just set those off to the side. You're going to want to save those. Unless you have more, then you can just replace them. It's not a big deal one way or the other. So whichever one you're going to change, you need to find the arm that corresponds with the nut here, because you're going to need to take these wires all the way out. I'm going to do this outside one here, so just follow the arm up. Comes to this one. Alright, so you got the wires separated. It's not already off. Remove the candle sleeve, set it off to the side. Twist the socket off. You see it's threaded down here, and it goes into a threaded end right over here. For right now, we're just going to pull this right out. Then you can either use a 9/16 wrench, pair of pliers, adjustable, whatever works for you. You're going to want to take this nut off. Then on the older model, once you get this off, this little cap would be sitting on top of where the crystal would be. You put the new crystal on, put this back on top, thread it back on. Of course, I happen to pick the stiffest one. Alright, when you do tighten it back on, you don't want to put it on so tight that you're going to break the crystal again. You're just going to want to snug it up on there. Alright, now this is the difficult part, and that is feeding the wire back through the arm. what I found works the best is if you take some kind of oil, any sort of lubricant, so that you can slide the wires through a lot easier. If you go at it dry, then you could be at it for well over an hour. It's been a couple years since I've done this, so we'll see how well we make out. This is just oil that you use for an air gun. Picked up a bottle of this, and I'm pretty liberal with the oil. You can always wipe off the extra when the wires come through, and you know, the oil is good for preventing things like rust and whatnot. So you're not going to hurt the fixture by having it in here. I usually just twist the two wires together so they don't come apart while I'm trying to feed them through.
Allison, if you can call Zach and shipping, please. Allison, call Zach and shipping. Thank you.
And you just start feeding those wires back through. First it's pretty easy, but now I'm starting to get some resistance. Now, for whatever reason this is giving you too much hassle, or your fingers are starting to hurt, you can also get take that pair of pliers, or take a needle nose pair of pliers. It's my preferred, and no more than an inch from the top of the hole, and just start shoving it down. And if it gets snagged up, then you just shake it up and down until she goes through where you want it to be. Right now this is moving pretty good for me. The fingers are doing just fine. And there's my wire coming up the other end. As soon as you can get on that wire, just give her a tug. That makes the rest of the pull much easier. Twist this back on. And if you want to snug this onto that nut, then you're going to want a 9/16 wrench again. There's two flat sides. You can just give it the extra crank. It's not needed. Usually if you just grab it with your hand, you're fine. Alright, candle sleeve back on. Wipe your wire. And you're going to put all this back together up here. There's 6 lights, so you're going to want 6 of these white wires, plus the silver wire that goes to connect everything to the outlet box. Group them all together. You can give a little pre-twist if you want, or not, but as long as they're grouped together at the tip, the Moret should do the most of the twisting for you. Just crank it on. Once she doesn't turn anymore, then that's be fine. Give each wire a little tug just to make sure they are all secure in there. The last thing you want to do is get everything back together and come to find out that one light doesn't light up just because one of these wires wasn't connected. And then you're going to want to do the same for the black. Fortunately, for the purposes of the video, all the black stayed together really well. Wrap them up with some electrical tape. You like to start around the wires and wrap them in the same way that the wire is twisting. And slowly wrap around onto the Moret. And then if you have any left over, then you start wrapping back down again over the wires. All right, that's good. Tuck the wires out of the way as best you can. Try to keep all the wires in the center. And once again, like I said at the beginning of the video, try to keep them away from this pinch point here. Put that guy back on. And you're done.